Okay po. Magandang araw po sa mga participants. The topic that's given to me to share with you, discuss with you is the church as a corporation. The church as a corporation under Republic Act number 11232, otherwise known as Revised Corporation Code of the Philippines. Okay. Now, nasa Ebanghelyo ni San Mateo, Kapitulo 16, versikulo 18, Matthew chapter 16, verse 18. Sabi ni Jesus kay Pedro, sabi natin Panginoong Jesus kay Pedro, sa batong ito, itatatag ko ang aking iglesia. Kahit pa ang pintuan ng impyerno ay hindi gapi, hindi madadaig ng pintuan ng impyerno ang iglesia o simbahan itatatag ko sa batong ito. If we follow this presentation from the Christian perspective, the church is really perpetual. It really implies that the church is intended by its founder, the Lord Jesus, to be eternal. That is why leaders can come and go. Yung mga leaders na nandito, church leaders na nandito po, priests, fathers, pastors, at mga madre dito din, and other church leaders, ministers, are attending. Ito po, no? Leaders can come and go, but the church never dies. Yung mga leader ng simbahan, you can come and go. We are not indispensable. Pagka wala na tayo, huwag nating isipin na kailangan tayo, kundi tayo po ang nangangailangan sa Panginoon. Tayo po ang nangangailangan sa simbahan. Dahil dyan ninyo na exercise ang inyong ministry. Now, so the church's ability to withstand external tremors and internal transitions, as well as tunings and epic upheavals, ensures that it can continue to exist indefinitely. Dahil ang simbahan talaga, perpetual. Of course, kinikilala natin ang galaw ng biyaya o ng grasya ng Diyos na siyang gumagabay sa kasaysayan ng simbahan. Kaya hanggang ngayon, more than 2,000 years ago, hanggang ngayon, andito pa din ang simbahan. Pero we have to recognize, we have to accept the fact that kailangan ng human endeavors to ensure its long-term existence. Because the church is within the world we live in the secular world. And kailangan ng human endeavors, galaw din naman ng tao. Kaya these pastoral endeavors frequently surpass the capacities and lifespans of individual natural persons, necessitating several people's concerted actions over a long period. So, di ba, sa kasaysayan simbahan, no? Example, yung Vatican II, pinuksan ni Pope John the 23rd. Tapos hindi niya natapos, no? So makabilang buhay siya, then pumalit si Pope Paul the Sixth. Tapos it was in the pontificate of John Paul II that the reforms of the Vatican II were slowly implemented, no, for the Catholic Church, for the Catholics here. And of course, sa kasaysayan din naman ng mga individual na simbahan, mga nandito, di ba? Di ba yung mga kasat yung pag-develop from the time o yung mga Agipay na nandito from Monsignor Agripay, then came Isabelo de los Reyes time, meron pag before that Santiago Fonacier, Isabelo de los Reyes hanggang junior na. Then uh, hanggang ngayon, no? So, yung mga iba't ibang simbahan, the picture merong, I think this is the Russian Orthodox Church yung nasa picture. Now, for instance, the Catholic Church has its own legal system and juridical ordinance. No? We contain in the Code of Canon Law, which is the body of laws made by the lawful ecclesiastical authority for the church government. I'm not a canonist or canon lawyer. I'm a civil lawyer, so I'm not really competent to delve deeper on the canon laws. This is not canon law uh, discussion, but of civil law discussions on the church, no, as corporation under the revised corporation code. Now, so canon law creates legal entities called juridic persons that have certain rights and responsibilities. This include the right to own property. Itong mga juridic person na ito, no, ay meron silang right to own property, the right to sign contract, pwede silang magabla, pwede din silang ihabla, as well as the duty to look out for the common good, to be answerable before ecclesiastical authority, magbayad ng utang, and of course to carry out the wishes of the donors pag may magbibigay ng donasyon sa simbahan. Dapat respetuhin at sundin ano ang uh, nais ng donor na ito to ensure continuity and stability. Now, itong mga juridic person, itong mga entities na ito yung mga dioceses, at saka episcopal conferences, we have parishes, Institute of Consecrated Life, yung mga madre, yung mga brothers, we also have societies of apostolic life, we have mga seminaryo, mga kolehiyong katoliko, universidad ng mga katoliko, hospitals, and other educational, charitable, or pastoral programs. Yan ang sa example with the Roman Catholic Church. Of course, when the Church claims to be independent of civil authority concerning acquisition, possession, administration, and disposition of its temporal goods, no, canon law itself recognizes the realities of life in modern secular regulatory nation. Okay, and urges that church assets be maintained to ensure their protection under civil law. Yung batas ng simbang Katolika, they recognize, no, when it comes na to property relations, there is this, according to my professors in canon law sa San Beda Graduate School of Law, there is this provision of the canonization of civil law. Ayan, ng property issues, nasa ano yan, nasa civil law. Kahit sabihin natin that the Catholic Church has innate right, no, to acquire, retain, administer, alienate temporal goods independent of civil power. And Philippine civil law recognizes the juridic personality of the church and its perpetual standing before the law, as enunciated in the provision of the revised corporation code on religious corporation. Of course, you cannot see the term church in the RCC, but it's religious corporation. Now, the revised corporation code, which as we go along with our discussion, tawagin natin RCC, so revised corporation code, provides for two legal ways kung saan yung simbahan, hindi po ang simbahan ang i-rehistro natin sa SEC, but the ways, no, to get legally recognized by by the state, no, by the law, by the civil law, is to be uh, registered in two ways. Kasi yung religious corporation, sabi ng revised corporation code, may be incorporated by one person or kaya tatawag na corporation sole, or maybe registered by five or more persons, which we call the religious society. Now, yung mga regular na korporasyon na nire-register sa Securities and Exchange Commission, uh, prior to the amendments, their revised corporation code, yung old corporation code, may tagal lang sila na maximum term of only 50 years. Pero sa revised corporation code, meron na ding perpetua, meron na ding character of perpetuity. 50 years or perpetual. Pwede nang mag-perpetual ang isang korporasyon na ordinaryo, regular na korporasyon. Pero under the old corporation code, kahit na may limit na 50 years maximum, yung mga regular na korporasyon, modern korporasyon, ng mga negosyo, businesses, even na mga mga foundations, no? Non-governmental organizations, mga ganon. Pero in the old corporation code, hindi na po binigyan, no, ng 50 years maximum term kasi hindi po nag-a-apply yan sa mga religious corporation. So now the new corporation extends its perpetual existence to all corporations. Of course, unless the articles of incorporation ng particular na corporation to ay magsasabing hanggang 50 years lang tayo, may limit tayo. Pero the corporation code now, lahat, no, gustong mag-register, yung default mode ng years of existence would always be perpetual, sabi ng section 107 of RA 1123.2. Kaya nga, there's a legal opinion for the SEC. Sabi ng SEC, corporate term of a religious corporation is not required to be specified in the articles of incorporation. They could be allowed to exist perpetually. Perpetual. Dahil ang batas ay walang intensyon ng batas na ilimit ang buhay ng isang religious corporation. So, hindi po applicable, no? Yung limit ng 50 years. Sabi ng SEC Office of the General Counsel. Now, with the present corporation code, nagpo-provide a term for corporation in general, or it does not apply to religious corporation. Whether classified as corporation sole or religious society. Because again, the law never intended to limit the corporate type of religious corporation. Hence, the religious corporation may be allowed to exist perpetually. Papunta na po tayo sa pagre-register ng isang simbahan bilang isang religious corporation under civil law or under to be specific, under the revised corporation code at mag-re-register sa Securities and Exchange Commission. So while the church and its substrata are defined in canon laws for the Roman Catholics, no, may sariling namang mga canons din yung iba-ibang simbahan. Di po ba? May mga sarili din kay constitution, canons na sinusunod. There is actually no legal requirement na binibigay o tinatakda ang civil law na dapat ang isang simbahan o isang religious congregation ay magre-register sa gobyerno. Hindi po. There is no requirement. There is no legal requirement. That's why a church founder may convert disciples to his church, no, without fear of being prosecuted for recruiting members. Hindi po kasalanan ng magtatag ng isang denominasyon o kongregasyon o malaki-laki na, maging isang simbahan, um, kahit wala itong corporate legal entity, kahit hindi nyo po ipa-register sa SEC. In fact, many of the founders of major religions around the world did not register as churches before leading their followers. Okay. Jesus for Christianity, of course, the Prophet Muhammad, in Islam. Okay, we have Siddhartha Gautama for the Buddhists. Hindi naman sila nag-register para um, recruit o convince to convert ng mga followers. Because the law recognizes that even if a religious institution does not have to register with the government, it can still be valid. Of course, no? So a religious denomination, sect or church, society, organization that does not want to acquire juridical personality separate and distinct from its members does not need to register with the SEC. Kung wala naman kayong plano mag-acquire ng property, wala naman kayong planong mag-enter into contract, so very focus lang dyan sa um, sharing ninyo of your faith, no? Your faith life experiences. You don't need to register with the state or with the SEC. Pero kapag meron na kayong mag-acquire na kayo ng property, no? You have to enter into a contract, you have to make a loan or even to deposit sa bangko ng funds ninyo, you really need a civil, no, corporate entity, no, a registered one. So that's the time you have to be registering. Okay. So the corporation code does not require any religious group to be registered as a corporation. Even if not registered, members of the religious organization may, by agreement, perform. Okay, you have to worship. No? Ang pag-register ng mga simbahan bilang religious corporation, hindi pag-curtail ng karapatan yung mag-exercise ng inyong religious freedom. So long as yung mga ginagawa ng simbahang yan ay hindi labag sa batas o sa moral, sa mga good customs, public order or public policy. Wala tayong tabit dyan, no? Sa batas o sa estado, sa gobyerno. Now, that is why the Roman Catholic Church is not incorporated in the general sense under the Philippine Registry at the SEC. Kaya, totoo po, may ibang maririnig natin, no, na naging Iglesia Katolika hindi nakarehistro sa SEC. Totoo po yun. Pero, wag po tayong hanggang dyan lang yung pag-iisip natin. Kasi generally speaking, hindi. Yes, totoo yan. Pero, yung local churches or national churches, they aren't local, are part of their own national territories. So, nare-register yung mga local churches, yung mga dioceses, no? Yung mga archdioceses, yung mga kongregasyon. Diba itong mga archdiocese, yung mga prelature, yung mga diocese, registered po sila sa SEC, no? Roman Catholic of Ozamis Incorporated. The Roman Catholic Archbishop of Ozamis Incorporated, Arcawi, or the Roman Catholic Archbishop of Manila Incorporated, ARCAM Incorporated. To legally be incorporated, the church must follow the same laws as an individual. So, as a church in general, yes, hindi po rehistrado sa SEC. Pero as a church in particular, local churches, kaya ng mga dioceses, archdioceses, iba pa mga lokal na simbahan, lokal na kongregasyon, sila po ay naka-register sa. Saka may, ano ko lang, no? Bago ko makalimutan. Kasi may mga nababasa din tayo. Sa mga kasama din natin sa simbahang Katolika, sasabi, kayo dahil nakaregister, kami Katoliko hindi kami nakaregister sa SEC, kayo nakaregister kayo sa SEC, kaya mayroong INC, kaya na you are engaged into business. Hindi naman po lahat na nakaregister sa SEC ay engaged into trade and business. Kaya even mga foundation, yung mga association, dyan, even when they register sa SEC. Kaya kahit yung mga dioceses, yung mga local na mga denominasyon ng mga kapatid natin sa ibang sekta o denominasyon, um, sila po ay um, rehistrado po sa SEC. At hindi naman po sila nag-engage into trade and business kagaya ng isang korporasyon. Kasi mali po yung pagkakaintindi natin na kapag may INC, negosyo na agad, no? Yung incorporated, negosyo na agad. Hindi po. They are registered sa SEC. That's why they're incorporated. Kaya merong INC period, no? However, the church's unincorporated status made it liable for lawsuits and procedures. Kapag wala kayong corporate entity, medyo um, may disadvantage din naman. A church has to open a bank account to hire ministers, workers, and other stakeholders. So once a church has enough wealth, it eventually acquires real estate, yung mga lupa, no? Either by donation or by sale, or by conveyances ng sino man. So, i-donate sa simbahan. So, siyempre, ano tayo ng deed of donation. Kanino i-donate sa simbahan? Meron ba siyang entity? Wala. Si pastor lang ang meron. E di, doon sa pangalan ni pastor, madodonate. Hindi sa simbahan. Ang intent pa naman ng donor, doon sa simbahan, i-donate. Dahil walang corporate entity, hindi nakaregister sa SEC ang simbahan. So doon kay pastor, ma-register. Halimbawa, sumakabilang buhay si pastor, o si father, o sino pa yung ministro, leader ng simbahan na yan. So, anong mangyayari? Tapos nangyari ito sa iba't ibang instances, even in the Catholic Church in the early 19th century, no? 18th century, mga ganyan na dahil nakapangalan ang donation o ang property ay nakapangalan doon sa leader ng simbahan niya. May heir yan, may mga heirs, no? May mga anak, no? may asawa, may anak. Of course, they will claim that that's the property of their late father or husband sa kanila kasi yun ang nakaregister eh. So, madidefeat yung purpose ng yung intent ng nag-donate sana or kung binili yung lupa, yung property gamit ang pera ng kongregasyon, pera ng ministry, ng simbahan o ng denomination. Kaya lang dahil walang registration sa SEC, doon nakapangalan kay ministro, kay pastor, kay father. So, kaya kailangan talagang magkaroon na corporate entity for that purpose and for those purposes. So a church may soon receive funding and donation from parishioners, from members who would prefer their donations to be tax deductible. Di ba? Kapag magdo-donate ang isang tao, isang kumpanya sa simbahan, hingin ng resibo para yung receipt ay magamit nila for deduction sa tax. No? So there are many other reasons beyond the intended reason why a church would want to incorporate. Now, we must protect each member from liability associated with other members' negligent action. Because of this, it must have a legal personality. Only then can a church be competent in transaction, in business to have access to public and private contracts. You will be entering contracts. Diba? For instance, if the church, no, may extra, may part na area sa simbahan na pwedeng parentahan natin para dumagdag naman sa income. You cannot do that unless you have corporate entity or registration. Because you will be entering into contract of lease. No? Mga ganyan. So, kailangan talaga ang registration sa mga bagay nito. Kapag pumasok na ang simbahan sa mga transaksyon, legal or civil, kailangan din ng civil na corporate entity. So all the major churches and congregations of the Philippines have decided to incorporate their corporate legal structure for the individual's benefit and protection. Yeah, only a few religious groups will oppose effort to incorporate their congregation. Tapos, may mga ilan-ilan din. Ewan ko nga kung may mga iba na andito ngayon na hanggang ngayon hindi pa po naka-register sa SEC yung mga denomination ninyo. So maybe you have to reflect upon this. Because a lot of these people would believe that the state controls, no? Once naka-register na, parang kontrolado tayo ng state. Dapat ang Diyos lang ang magko-control sa atin. Yung mga ganun na mga mindset, no? Mga pag-iisip. Hindi naman po ganun. Wala namang requirement na ano, hindi naman po kontrolado, hindi po kinokontrol ng estado, ng gobyerno, even nga ng SEC, ang simbahan na ito na nakapag-register. Now, many people do not understand that a corporation is separate from the church. Corporation, the religious corporation is separate from the church. The church is the group dedicated to the religious practices and observance of the rules of the church. Incorporation naman is merely a legal instrument that the church uses to conduct businesses, own property, and to protect itself. Kailangan din ng legal protection. To own property or to dispose property, we need a legal instrument. And that is the corporation that is to be registered with the state. So the process of establishing a church in a particular will differ from state to state. Of course, dito sa Pilipinas, ito yung ating ano. Hindi naman private companies. Of course, in most states and other jurisdictions, including the Philippines, hindi po private companies ang pagkatingin sa simbahan. It's more of a public benefit organization. So the revised corporation law requires two different religious societies, either as corporation sole, kung isa lang, the office of the bishop or the head of the church, yung office, hindi po siya ang magre-register, yung kanyang office. Kaya nga, yung pangalan ng mga corporations na maririnig natin, halimbawa, makikita natin, familiar, Roman Catholic Archbishop of Manila Incorporated, ARCA Incorporated. Or the Superior General of Bread of Life Congregation, or Superior General of the Society of Saint Peter Incorporated. Ganyan. Or the head pastor of the Bread of Life Ministry. Ganyan, no? Incorporated. Yun ang corporation sole. Kasi yung office nila ang nire-register sa SEC. May isa namang type of class ng religious corporation na allowed under our revised corporation law is, of course, we have the religious society. Now, itong religious society, tingnan natin sa yung illustration dito, no? You have these five, at least five, no? Kasi nandiyan yung chair, yung secretary, board. Okay. So parang kagaya ng isang non-stock non-profit corporation, yung religious society. It's the society, it's the group, no, that is being registered, not the office. So kaya nga, para silang non-stock non-profit corporation. Okay, so let's proceed with the discussion on the corporation sole under the Philippine Corporation Law, especially Section 108. For the purpose of administering and managing as trustee the affairs, property, and temporalities of any religious denomination, sect, or church, a corporation may be formed by the chief archbishop, bishop, priest, minister, rabbi, and other presiding elder of such a religious denomination, sect, or church. So, si head, ano mang tawag sa kanya, chief archbishop, presiding bishop, no, or the bishop of, the archbishop of, head minister, ano man yung kanyang pangalan bilang head ng isang denominasyon o sektang yaan, ay pwede siyang mag-register sa sect for anong Purpose, of course, to administer and manage. As trustee, kaya hindi yung pangalan niya ang nare-register, but yung office niya. Kasi siya yung office holder. Kaya pagka mag-retire siya, mag-resign or mamatay, someone will have to take over at siya din naman ang magiging trustee of that office na siyang na-register doon sa Securities and Exchange Commission as a religious si Corporation Sole. Now, history ng Corporation Sole, no? The concept of corporation can be traced to religious association. At that time, land represented the only possible source of revenue. And then yung mga hari, they promised lands to bishops, no, to religious leaders. It was important to the religious community to continue to have the lands. Kasi nag-promise, no, binigay, no, dinonate ng hari. Eh, paano yung community na naiwan, may binigay kay Abot, kaya nakatatag ng isang monastery. Eh, namatay na si Abot, doon lang kay Abot na donate yung lupa eh. Baka mabawi ng mga heir ng king. Mga ganun. Kaya, to be secured, eh, nagkaroon dito nagsimula yung religious uh, organization, yung corporation soul. Now, the ancient Romans had to have at least 3 members to constitute a corporation. Sa batas under the Roman law, at least 3 members, no, pwede na kayo maging korporasyon. Of course, in the revised corporation code, meron namang corporation below 5 members na ina-allow na dati. Very strict, no? 5, 10, 15. Ganun. Pero meron na. Eh, hindi naman yan bago kasi we can trace that back to the Roman law. Ina-allow ng Roman law na magre-register at least 3 members, no, to constitute a corporation. Tawag nito ay universitas or collegium. Now, collegium. Now, it followed the old common Roman maxim, no? Tres passion collegium. 3 make a company. Parang 3 sa crowd, no? Now, kaya nga the Collegium of the Vestal Virgins at Rome is a classic example, as there is they're called a universitas, no? So, one author, Fletcher, said that among Roman jurists, a sole corporation was inconceivable because all corporations must be aggregates, no? Kasi mula pa sa old, no, the Roman law, pagka-korporasyon, at least 3. Kaya yung corporation, so hindi masyadong nako-conceive, parang imposible, no? Kaya lang, yung mga nare-register kasi na tatlo, o di ba, na universitas o korporasyon, at least 3 members, siyempre may mamamatay dyan, no? Ah, tapos hindi pa napapalitan, patuloy pa naman nag-i-exist yung korporasyon na yon. Kaya lang parang isa na lang naiwan, o dalawa na lang, o isa na lang. Hinahayaan din naman pa din ng batas na magpatuloy ang korporasyon na yon. So, they were considered to exist and not to be disbanded by statute. Hindi naman po sila dinisband dahil nagkulang na ng membro. Hanggang, of course, it was reduced to 1. So it was ascribed to the Latin maxim, si universitas ad unum redit, it's stet nomen universitatis. If the aggregate is reduced to 1, it may still exist as a corporation and retain the name universitas. So there was an expectation that babalik din naman ang panahon na yung membership, no, ng universitas na ay madadagdagan. No? Kaya kahit isa na lang naiwan, allowed pa din to exist as a corporation. Yun yung mga early trace origin of corporations. And then came the English. Dati sa English common law naman talaga nag-originate, nabigyan ng mukha talaga ang corporation soul. Okay. This concept is meant to protect the land and privileges of the crown, the civil offices, and ecclesiastical establishment in the English common law. Kaya nga the reigning monarch, yung hari o reyna ng Inglaterra o ng pinagisang kaharian. Tapos yung Archbishop of Canterbury, kasi yung Archbishop ng Canterbury, yan yung religious leader ng Anglican Church. No? Although yung head ng Anglican Church is the reigning monarch, in the spiritual aspect, it's the Archbishop of Canterbury. Then we have the bishop, the archdeacon, the canon, and the Anglican Church vicar were unipersonally incorporated. So sa panahon pa no, um, ng mga 16th century, 20th century, pinapractice na sa Inglaterra, sa England na yung unipersonal corporation. Yung um, which is, of course, corporation sole. Mula nang humiwalay ang simbahan ng Inglaterra sa Roman Catholic Church at naging Anglican Church sila, inalaw ng batas nila na yung Archbishop of Canterbury and all those bishops, archdeacon, vicars, magre-register as corporation sole. So each office of the said church is incorporated, but not the entire church, kasi corporate legal personality. So in its collective capacity, the Anglican Church has not been deemed a corporation. No? Kaya din ng Roman Catholic Church, hindi naman yan corporation. Kaya nga, sabi dito, any donation then made to and granted in the name of Church of England was invalid. Kasi nga, wala siyang personalidad, wala siyang civil personality. Pagka Church of England yung pangalan, dapat nakapangalan sa specific na rehistradong unipersonal na korporasyon, corporation sole. Dapat, para maging valid, yung donation should be named a donation to the Archbishop of Canterbury. Of course, hindi si Archbishop yung nakaupo ang pagmamayari, pero kundi yung office ni Archbishop of Canterbury, no, ang siyang pagmamayari ng property na yun. So aside from the reigning English monarch, the concept of corporation sole was also extended to other civil offices of the kingdom. Then later, in 1833, a significant shift in the way Catholic Church property was owned and leased happened in the United States. The Maryland legislature formed the first corporation sole. Estado ng Maryland, na-register nila yung kauna-unahang corporation sole doon, ang Archbishop of Baltimore in 1833. Kasi prior to that, may mga irregularidad na sa management of church property. May mga trustee, no, lang na minsan yung mga lay person, no, or any individual na ginagawang trustee, no, nagkaroon ng mga mismanagement and irregularities. So, siguro nagkaagawan o nagkabawian o yung property, yung pangalan napunta na sa trustee kasi register sa trustee, namatay sa trustee, no? Namatay sa trustee, siyempre yung mga heirs sa trustee nagki-claim na sa kanila yung property, hindi sa simbahan. Kasi nga, wala pang registered corporate entity ang isang diocese o isang simbahan o lokal na simbahan. So the novel, yung bago, no, legal setup provided a civil mechanism for episcopal oversight of church land, and of course it ended the bishop's fee, no? Simple control of real estate. Kasi nga, yung pagre-register ng corporation sole sa US, yun ang response na ginawa ng legislature, ng Kongreso, ng batas o ng Estado para din ma-curtail, no, yung mga tinatawag na unreliable lay trustees. And the bishop decreed in 1837 the Third Provincial Council of Baltimore that dioceses could use civil law instrument to safeguard the intentions of benefactors donating actual and personal property to the church para hindi mapunta sa trustee, no, unreliable trustees. Eh, dapat sa pangalan na ng korporasyon, ng corporation soul, ng Archbishop of, like this, Bishop of Incorporated. So, of course, the bishop's property could not be named in his honor. The law acknowledged that the corporation soul owned the ecclesiastical the property, hindi yung individual na obispo, kundi yung office kung saan yun ang na-register doon sa the equivalent, no, of sect sa atin. Kaya nga, dito sa Philippines naman, in the case of Roman Catholic Apostolic Administrator of Davao Incorporated versus Land Registration Commission, citing Bovia's Law Dictionary, dinefine ng Supreme Court, ng Korte Suprema, ang corporation soul. It is a special form of a corporation usually associated with the clergy, conceived and introduced in the common law by sheer necessity. Sheer necessity. Now, this legal creation, which was referred to as that unhappy brick of English law, was designed to facilitate the exercise of the functions of ownership carried on by the clerics for and on behalf of the church that was regarded as the property owner. Kasi yung simbahan ang talagang may-ari. Hindi yung obispo, yung paring nagdadala. Eh dapat merong separate na civil entity, no? Na civil personality yung simbahan na yan, aside from the individual priest or bishop. Hindi dapat sa kanila nakaregister yung property kasi hindi naman talaga silang property owner. Trustee nga lang sila eh. Eh dapat doon naka-register sa simbahan. Kaya yung simbahan ang i-register as corporation soul. So, the court, no, in that same case, citing the U.S. Jurisprudence, the corporation soul consists of one person and his successor will always be one at a time. In some particular station who are incorporated by law to give them some legal capacities and advantages, particularly that of perpetuity, okay, perpetuity, which in their natural persons they could not have had. Kasi hindi naman perpetual si bishop. Pagka reach ni bishop ng 75 years old, kayo sa ibang hindi na siyang obispo kasi he has to retire or resign from his office. And once the Vatican receives, the Pope receives his resignation, then he is deemed to have retired from office. And the diocese will be sede vacante unless yung tinanggap nung retirement or resignation ng bishop who reaches already 70 years old, may pinangalan agad na bagong kapalit. So, yun. So, hindi naman perpetual yung tao. But yung office, perpetual yan. No? Yung office of the bishop of the diocese of like this, or the head pastor of ABC Ministry Incorporated. Now, local Roman Catholic churches in the Philippines, such as dioceses, then prelatures, apostolic vicarates, etc., are registered with the government as corporations of, and are recognized by the law as such. So, korporasyon po sila. Corporations of. So, sa kasong Roman Catholic Apostolic Church versus Leonardo Santos et al., that this building, sabi ng Korte Suprema, that this building is a church, is consecrated as much and was used, occupied, and possessed by the Roman Catholic Church as a corporation from the earliest times. Now, in one case, The Archdiocese of Manila, as part elucidated in the Government of Philippine Islands versus Martin Avila case, sabi ng Korte Suprema doon, notwithstanding the petition of counsel for the Catholic Archbishopric of Manila, the 6 lots involved in this appeal can only be inscribed in the Registry of Property in the name of the sole corporation, the Roman Catholic Archbishop of Manila, duly recognized under the Corporation Law in Force, 1918 case. So yung Roman Catholic Archbishop of Manila is a very old corporation soul in Philippine law. So legally speaking, what is being incorporated as corporation soul is not the church itself, but the office. Now, the offices of religious leaders like the bishop, priest, religious superior, and the like. Once the bishop's office has been formed into a corporation soul, yung nakaupo dyan, siya na ang mag-a-administer, magmamanis ng affairs, ng properties, etc. The civil aspect of the church. So, walang pakialam ang batas, Civil Corporation Code, o ni ang SEC sa affairs and transactions in the canonical sense, in the ecclesiastical sense, internal ng simbahan. But only with regards to the administering and managing of the property. Kasi yung property is a registered, no? It's a civil concept. So now, concrete examples here. And from the Archdiocese of Ozamis. Now, yung Archdiocese of Ozamis is registered with SEC as the Roman Catholic Archbishop of Ozamis Incorporated, or that the ARCAO Incorporated. Now, our former Archbishop, the late Archbishop Jesus Cruzado, held the office of Corporation Soul until October 4 of 2016. When his retirement from office was accepted by the Holy See, by Santo Papa, tinanggap ng October 4, tas kasabay din dyan, pinangalanan si Obispo ng Basilan na si Martin S. Humuad na bilang kapalit kahalili na bagong arsobispo na Ozamis. Then, si Bishop Humuad na naging Archbishop Humuad naman took possession of the Archdiocese and the office of the Corporation Soul on November 30 of 2016. As this was duly noted when the Articles of Incorporation na ng ARCAO, Incorporated ARCAO, were amended the following year. No? Kasi hindi na si Archbishop Dosado yung holder ng office, so pinalit na si Archbishop Martin Humuad. Pagkatapos, inattach namin yung English translation of the appointment decree ng Santo Papa. Kasi hahanapin niya, no, in the amendments of the Articles of Corporation, hahanapin niya ng Securities and Exchange Commission kung ano may appointment, anong pinagbabasehan ng ng authority of the new head, no, to hold the office. Okay. So, of course, yung iba, masimbahan, di ba? Paano kayo? Imbawa itong the head of the office dito, yung mga presiding bishop ninyo, yung obispo maximo, parang 6 years lang, no? So pagka upo ng bagong obispo maximo, magkakaroon naman ng amendment or magsasabit dun sa SEC na ito naman si Bishop Juan de la Cruz, ang bagong obispo maximo, siyang uupo, no, bilang holder ng Office of the Corporation Soul, o yung mga pastor dito, di ba? So you have to, that's the only time that, of course, you have to submit or report or amendment to the SEC. No? Now, yan yung sitwasyon ng yung sinare ko sa inyo about the ARCAO. Generally, yun naman talagang nangyayari sa mga dioceses, no? Mga sa Pilipinas, no? Incorporated as corporation soul. And you know, itong sa akin usap o talakayan sa mga kanonista ng mga simbahan. Yung corporation soul, corporation soul talaga ang very congruent, no, to the structure ng simbahan, especially ng simbahang Katolika. Kasi the diocesan bishop is the chief executive, legislator, and judge of the local church. No? It's provided by their own canon law. And parang swabe lang pagkadating sa Sian Corporation. So the term sole refers to the sole authority to direct the affairs of the diocesan corporation. Thus, for example, the diocese does not need to have a board of directors or any executive officers required under the revised corporation code, no? Sa corporation sole. Kasi hindi naman to kapara ng isang non-stock non-profit corporation. Kaya nga tinatawag na sole. Siya lang ang okay. Kaya nga ako din makalimutan, no, yung mga heads dito, yung mga may there are bishops attending here. Kapag meron kayong mga announcement, no, sa inyong mga members na canonical or ecclesiastical in nature, huwag niyong gamitin yung corporation sole registration ninyo na letterhead. Kasi titingnan mo, corporation sole, ikaw lang naman, no? Siya lang naman ang holder diyan. So, wala ka namang member sa korporasyon na yan. Meron kang, that's why do not use, for example, gagamit ka ng, may announcement ka sa mga faithfuls of the diocese, tapos yung letterhead mo ay Roman Catholic Bishop of XYZ Incorporated. Tapos ecclesiastical in nature, yung walang hindi civil aspect or pinag-usapan of that property. In the very first place, wala ka namang object or subject of your announcement kapag corporation sole yung gamit. Kaya nasabi ko, ang gamitin ninyo kapag internal ecclesiastical transaction or communication, yung pangalan ninyo na juridic personality nyo sa based sa inyong canon, the Roman Catholic Diocese of XYZ. Yan. Meaning, sa inyong ano yan, internal yan na mga komunikasyon. Hindi po yung registered name ninyo na corporation sole. Tapos may announcement ka to parish priest of hindi siya misplaced. Because the only time you can use that office is when you transact. So the corporate entity, Roman Catholic Bishop of XYZ Incorporated, is when you, for example, you have entered into contract. The first party contractant is the Roman Catholic Bishop of XYZ Incorporated, namely the first party. Name of the first party as the time, no? You enter into the civil actions, civil act. Pero kapag internal ninyo, gamitin mo yung pangalan talaga. The head pastor or the Church of Iglesia XYZ. Okay. Get my making sense? Now, majority of Catholic religious congregations, both local and foreign founded, that are duly recognized by competent ecclesiastical authorities to exist and operate here in the Philippines, are registered as corporation sole. For example, yung RVM, okay, sa kaso ng Congregation of the Religious Virgin Mary versus Orola, at 2008 case, sabi ng Supreme Court, the Religious of the Virgin Mary RVM as a corporation sole under the corporate name. Yan. Anong corporate name ng RVM? The Superior General of the Religious of the Virgin Mary Incorporated, which the Reverend Mother Ma then represented. In another case, 2018 case, the Missionary Sisters of Our Lady of Fatima versus Alzona. Okay, the petitioner, otherwise known as Beach Sisters of Laguna is a religious and charitable group established under the Bishop's Roman Catholic patronage of San Pablo on May 30, 1989. The petitioner became a corporation through certificate issued by the sect. Yeah. Likewise, several non-Catholic Christian churches have emulated the Catholic Church in the Philippines, incorporating their dioceses as sole corporations. For instance, our Philippine found the Iglesia ni Cristo, no, was registered as a religious corporation sole in July 27 of 1914. After World War II, the government all corporation ordered that all corporations to be re-registered. Thus, Iglesia ni Cristo was again um, as registered again. Sorry for that error, but again, it was still registered as a religious corporation, as a corporation sole. Sabi ng isang kaso sa 1984 GR number 54952. Yun ang pagkakasulat ng Supreme Court. Now, the Supreme Court, in another case, Republic versus Iglesia ni Cristo, 2009 case, recognizes Iglesia ni Cristo as a corporation sole with official address at number 1 Central Avenue, New Era, Diliman, Quezon City. Yun ang nakasaad doon sa jurisprudence na sinulat ng Supreme Court. So yun ang at iba pa no, mga kongregasyon pagkaka ko sa Obispo Maximo, it's the Obispo Maximo of the IUPAIs that na ang registered as a corporation. So their local dioceses are not registered. No? It's like akin to a mere parish of a Roman Catholic. Hindi naman registrado sa sekitong mga parokya. But it's the diocese only. Same manner as the Obispo Maximo. Other also, the president of the Church of the Latter-day Saints no? Sa Pilipinas, ang sarili namang registration as a corporation. So, punta naman tayo sa religious society. Another classification of religious corporation under RCC, the RCC, the Revised Corporation Code, and an option for churches and other religious entities is to register as a religious society. Ayaw nyo yung isa lang, yung office ng head ninyo, ang register ninyo, gusto nyo democratize kasi naman democratize yung simbahan, dapat ay yung buong simbahan ang magano. Kaya magiging kapara kayo ng isang non-stock non-profit organization or corporation. Magpaparegister kayo, then ito na yung mga requirements, no? Okay? So that the congregation of the group is not prohibited by ecclesiastical authority, and yung mga batas, internal rules, constitution. Okay. Now, pagka hindi kayo prohibited, pwede kayo mag-register sa religious society. Provided that there's a written consent on affirmative vote, may vote na at least 2/3 of all the members of that church. May mga iba-ibang sekta or denomination na they opted to register as a religious society. So yung 2/3 of the members no, ng simbang yan, sila ang mag-decide no, na magpapa-incorporate tayo. Okay? For that purpose naman, of course, the same purpose is for the administration of its members' properties and goods. Sabihin, yung property nila is sa simbahan as a religious society. Ang property, pagmamay-arian ng simbahan din as a religious society. Yung sa corporation sole, pagmamay-ari ng simbahan na represented ng office ng kanilang leader. So the church has to file an application with the SEC, okay, that includes its AOI, Articles of Incorporation, and an affidavit from the head that they are registering and then stating that the entity to be registered is a diocese of a church or a church, no? and that the members agreed to or approve the incorporation. All right. Yung religious society na mag-register na yan, principal office within the Philippines. Okay. And of course, 11232, okay, the religious society as an aggregate, religious aggregate, must have at least 5 incorporators. Hindi pwedeng tatlo, 5. Ngayon, under the revised corporation code, may inaalas sa mga ordinaryong korporasyon na tatlo na lang. Pero nakasaad pa din sa section 114 ng R 11232, kapag ka magre-register sa simbahan bilang religious society, hindi corporation sole, at least lima ang incorporators dyan. So maybe the head pastor, then the deputy or the head minister, secretary, board treasurer, mga ganyan, wala, at least 5. Pwede mang more than 5. Now, the revised corporation code provides only this section for religious society. And then, any other pertinent rules applicable dito ay, again, go to section 86 to 94 for the non-stock corporation. So sa view ng corporation, ng batas, pagka ang isang simbahan ay mag-register as religious society, they are akin to a non-stock corporation. Kaya yung mga provision sa batas na applicable o applied to the non-stock corporation ay i-apply din naman sa simbahan na ito na magre-register as religious society. Okay, kaya there's instance a corporation sole mag-convert into religious society. Pwede ba? A corporation sole can convert into religious society. But natin naka-register is the corporation sole. No? Ito yung sa, look at the illustration here. Diba yung bishop, pagkatapos, later on, convert sila into a religious society. Kaya yung 5 dito na para mga clerics. So, mere amendments of its articles of corporation. Sa kaso na Iglesia Evangelica Metodista en las Islas Filipinas versus Lazaro, sabi ng Supreme Court, true, the corporation code provides no specific mechanism for amending the articles of corporation and corporation sole. But, okay, Section 109 of the Corporation Code allows the application to religious corporation of the general provision governing non-stock corporation. So, anong gagawin? Of course, for non-stock corporation, the power to amend its articles of corporation lies in its members. Kaya magkakaroon. Kapag magko-convert, of course, there will be again, consent on the 2/3 of votes of the approval of such an amendment from corporation sole as magaging religious society. So the corporation sole of registration will be converted to a religious society. Okay. So, sabi dito, there's no point to dissolving the corporation sole of one member to enable the corporation aggregate. In corporation aggregate, religious society to emerge from it. Whether it is a non-stock corporation or a corporation sole, the corporate being remains. The corporate being of the church remains distinct from its members, whatever be their norm. So the increase in the number of its corporate membership does not change the complexion of its corporate responsibility to third parties. Kahit pa mag-convert si corporation sole, papuntang religious society, yung pag meron siyang liability, responsibility sa kanyang transaction, yun pa din is the same entity, identity. You cannot circumvent na si corporation sole, halimbawa yung may responsibility dahil na-amend na sa naging religious society, ibang mukha na, iba na yung no, it's the same, no? Of course. So, he can, with membership concurrence, increase the technical number of the members of the corporation from solely or a sole or one to the greater number authorized by its amended articles. Baga-amend lang. Yun ang nakasaad sa jurisprudence of July 6, 2010. However, the action would democratize church governance and loosen the bishop's power as monocratic arbiters, authorized to act on their authority without the dictates of a board or council, now empowered under a corporation aggregate. Kapag ka, ano na, religious society na, of course, it's not only the holder of the corporation sold the office ang mag-decide, no, sa the manner of managing or administering the properties and affairs of the church. Meron ng council. Of course, sabi ko nga, kapag kayo, Credit Success Corporation Sol, hindi naman nawawala. Meron naman kayong mga council sa internal dynamics ng inyong simbahan. Diba? Pero pagdating sa corporation, sa civil affairs, of course, it's the office holder of that corporation. So, as to deal, no, and transact or deal, transact business or enter into contracts. Sa Religious Society, yung 5 or more than 5 na naka-register, they are the ones going to kaya nga democratized. And of course, this in a Roman Catholic diocese concept, hindi siya ano no uh, uh, kasi most of the dioceses in the Philippines are registered as corporations. So converting to religious aggregate for a corporation sold in the case of the diocese and bishop would pose duplicity and vulnerability because uh, when this is transported to the society, the diocese and board consultors and council of priests who merely acts as consultative body lang, no? Consultative, consult lang, magiging ano na sila, under a religious society, yung mga ibang membro, no? Ni head pastor, yung may mga vice pastor, secretary general, magiging ano na sila, may ano na sila may corporate ano na sila. Um, magiging ano na sila, no? Decision makers and power players. Notwithstanding, this would contradict to, of course, sa long-standing polity ng canon, for example, no? Sa simbahan. Okay, corporation soul in civil law, okay, uh, yan. In the case of the Roman Catholic Church, no, um, the corporation soul in civil law or juridic persons under canon law are in no way the key to exercising church governance. Under his appointment naman from the Pope, the bishop exercises his role as chief legislator, executive, and judge of his local church. Now, the corporation soul is provided by the law to facilitate the acquisition of properties his church would eventually acquire as a juridic person for temporal goods of the church. So the decisive factor in ecclesiastical governance, of course, is the canons of the church. Yung mga sarili ninyong mga batas na umiira sa inyong simbahan. Canon law, yung mga canons ninyo, constitution or rules, ang tawag yung pa dyan, sa inyong batas na sinusunod nyo sa inyong sariling simbahan. Yun naman talaga ang decisive factor. So, okay, the bylaws of corporation soul and religious society. Okay, of course, for local church to register corporation soul, okay, SEC is clear in saying that it does not require submission of bylaws. Walang bylaws, simply articles of incorporation, enough na. As the state recognizes that an incorporated church or office follows a set of ecclesiastical statutes of its canonical affairs. Can you imagine pa? Magano? While with revised corporation supplements the corporate civil aspect. Kaya hindi na hinihingan ng bylaws kasi, of course, hindi sasabit ko yung buong aklat ng Code of Canon Law and other local, pagka may mga batas ng local canons or particular legislation na ginawa. Pero hindi na po ni-require ng SEC. Sapat na po yung articles of corporation. Basta corporation soul. Kasi yung tinitingnan naman ng revised corporation code is the corporate civil aspect of that particular church. Sa Religious Society naman, pareho sa isang non-stock corporation, non-stock non-profit corporation. Kung ano ang ways ng pag-register ng non-stock non-profit corporation, ganoon din naman ang isang simbahan na gustong mag-register bilang religious society. Powers and capacity of religious corporation. Incorporated church, whether a corporation solely or religious society, is legally an organization. The RCC gives the legal limits of corporation. It may be sued under its corporate name. Kaya halimbawa merong um, kaso ng maghahabla maghahabla ang simbahan sa isang kakontrata niya na hindi na tumupad sa kanilang usapan. So magkakaroon ng civil case of breach of contract. Halimbawa, as the case may be, breach of contract or specific performance. Ano pong magiging doon sa title doon na sa case, sa civil case? It would be the Roman Catholic Bishop of XYZ Incorporated, represented by Bishop Juan de la Cruz, versus plaintiff versus ABC Company, or represented by Maria de los Santos. Yun na yun. Okay, now, it can continue until changed by the bylaws. It can adopt and use a corporate seal. It may amend its articles of incorporation. In the case of religious society, the board can pass bylaws that are not contrary to law, morals, or public policy and manage the church finances and research. Of course, and the mga board resolution. Kasi board na. Board na yan eh. Board of Incorporated, Board of Directors, yung mga incorporators. So like a regular corporation, the church, as a special corporation, has the power to purchase, receive, take, hold, convey, sell, lease, pledge, mortgage, and otherwise deal with any real or personal property as the corporation reasonably and necessarily requires. Kasi nga, may legal corporate personality na po yung naka-rehistradong yung incorporated na simbahan. Then, it has a power to carry out its objects as stated in the Articles of Incorporation as a religious society or stated in the church rules and discipline. Okay. Now, legal acts of religious society and corporation. So, okay, the revised corporation code provides for the right to vote for each member of the religious society. Pero sa corporation, so walang vote na mangyayari kasi siya lang naman yung obispo, yung head pastor, yung head minister, yung presiding bishop, yung obispo maximo sa kanyang identity as a corporation soul, yung head. Pero sa isang simbahan na registered as religious society, ayan, may mga voting. Remember, may vote. Kaya yung mga nakasaad na according to the provisions of the non-stock non-profit corporation. Magandang bumalik tayo, no? Kayong mga dito pagka tingnan nyo, you have to review after our discussion. Balikan ninyo, no? Basahin ninyo ang RA 11232, yung Revised Corporation Code. At kapag kayo simbahan ninyo ay rehistrado bilang religious society, balik kayo doon sa provision sa section kung saan ang nakasaad doon para sa non-stock and non-profit corporation. Kasi yun yung mga provisions na applicable sa inyo. As others provide in articles of incorporation or the bylaws, and member may vote by proxy. Yan. Nakasaad doon sa okay. Following provisions under non-stock, non-profit corporation, okay, membership in religious corporation aggregate is non-transferable. Hindi matatransfer. The manner and causes termination of membership are governed by the bylaws. Again, unless otherwise provided by. So for trustees and officers, okay, the revised corporation code allows provision for a non-stock corporation saying that its independent trustees shall be elected as trustees, and unless there is a provision in its article of incorporation or by the bylaws of the religious society. The religious society may bylaws na isasubmit. Yung corporation soul, wala. Stating other, the members may directly elect its officers. Now, This provision, yung sabi ko kanina, hindi po applicable sa corporation. So, as already explained, since the bishop or any religious leader of a congregation, sect, or denomination is the holder of the office, he has all the say in the manner of managing the affairs, no, of the corporation, so subject to the limits set by its own canons, no, or yung batas ng simbahan niya. Hindi naman din naman siya pwedeng mag-abuso ay kung nakasaad naman may limit na tinakda naman yung individual ecclesiastical laws or canon law sa, for instance, in the Catholic Church o yung constitution o rules o ano pa bang canons na tawag mo sa inyong batas sa sarili ng simbahan o the members. Okay. So, now in the event of vacancy, the successors will submit to the sect is notarized appointment letter or certification of election. So, yung successor, okay. Notify the sect, submit notarized appointment letter. Meron siyang appointment letter na pinapoy sa kanya, notarize yan. Okay. Section 112 of the filling of vacancies. Yan. Now, during any vacancy in the office of the head of that denomination, right? Now, so the person or persons authorized by the rules, regulation, discipline of this denomination, sect, or church, represented by the corporation sold to administer the temporalities and manage the affairs, okay, the state and properties of the corporation sold shall exercise all the powers and authority of the corporation sold during such vacancy. Kapag may vacancy, wala pang pinangalan, walang na-appoint, yung sino man yung ma-elect, parang administrator, siya pa din, meron din siyang uh, power, authority to exercise all the powers and authority of the corporation so during such vacancy. Halimbawa, in the Diocese of Roman Catholic Diocese of um, F, the Roman Catholic Diocese of F, so, napakante sila dahil pumano yung kanilang obispo. Santo Papa, inappoint niya yung tinakdan niya kasi hindi pa siya nakapag-appoint ng obispo dyan, vacant, pero merong itinalaga ang Santo Papa na Apostolic Administrator na obispo ng ibang diocese o ng katabing diocese o ng archdiocese kung saan uh, attached yung diocese as a suffragan. So si Archbishop Juan na tinalagang Apostolic Administrator ng Diocese of F na vacant, kahit hindi siya ang diocesan bishop, apostolic administrator lang siya or diocesan administrator kung meron ano, siya ang mag-exercise ng authority ng corporation sovereign. Okay. And of course, you have to notify and submit that to the sect that you are exercising as the tawag natin temporary ano head of that holder of that office. And then kapag may in-appoint na obispo, talaga yung Diocese of F, and then yun na din. Siya na din naman ang magsasabit dun sa SEC naman na notarize letter or certificate of appointment para makaroon ng uh, amendar yung pangalan nakalagay doon bilang may hawak ng opisinang yun. Okay? Now, dissolution of a religious society. Madi-dissolve ba? The religious society is a non-stock corporation, okay? And then is one where no part of its income is distributable as dividend to its members. Yung mga religious society na 5, at least 5, hindi po kayo, wala po kayong income na i-distribute as dividends kasi hindi naman kayo stock corporation. No? So, hindi kayo magpo-profit no, from that. Okay. Now, so, No part of his income is distributable as dividends to his members, trustees, or officers, and any profit which it may obtain incidental to its operation shall be used for the furtherance of its purposes. In the event of dissolution, it may be dissolved either voluntarily or involuntarily, and its assets shall be distributed. Balik naman tayo sa Section 93 of the Revised Corporation Code, which says, ang sabi, all liabilities and obligations of the corporation shall be paid, satisfied, discharged. Bago magsara, no, magdi-dissolve yung religious society na yan, bayaran yung mga pagkakautang, ano pa man dyan, yung mga responsibilidad. Then, yung asset na nahawakan ng religious society na yan, okay, will be, okay, upon condition requiring return, transfer, conveyance, and which conditions of course, by reason of the dissolution, shall be returned. Ibalik yung mga na iniram or transferred in accordance to such requirement. Na yung mga asset naman na natanggap ng korporasyon, subject to limitation permitting their use only for charitable, religious, and benevolent educational or similar purposes. Diba? Na-dissolve na yung religious society. Yung mga gamit na para sa charitable, religious purposes, saan po bibigay yan? Shall be transferred, conveyed to one or more corporation, society, organization engaged in activities in the Philippines substantially similar to those of the dissolving corporation. So kapag ang religious society magdi-dissolve na yung ano, halimbawa, sabi natin na bread of life, of course, I'm just using wala hindi ko ito ano lang po, katang-isipan ba? Sabi natin, Christ, the living Alpha and Omega ministry. Yeah. Then nag-dissolve na sila. Yung mga property nila na nagagamit na sa religious activities, tatransfer yan doon sa isang korporasyon o isang religious society naman. Kapareho ang activities. Ilipat nila doon sa isa namang ministry. Of course, according to a plan of distribution adopted pursuant to this chapter, kasi titingnan din naman yan na Securities and Exchange Commission. Assets other than those mentioned in the preceding paragraphs shall be distributed in accordance with the provision of the Articles of Corporation or the bylaws of that religious society. Now, assets may be distributed to such persons, societies, organizations, or corporations, whether or not organized for profit, as may be specified in a plan. Of course, babase din sa plan of distribution pagka mag-dissolve na. And the process of dissolution, a plan for the distribution of asset may be adopted by a non-stock corporation in the following manner again. Section 94 that provides the Board of Trustees shall, by majority vote, adopt a resolution recommending a plan of distribution and directing the submission thereof to a vote at a regular special meeting of members having voting rights. Okay, each member entitled to vote shall be given a written notice. Ayan. Is no? Sa meeting. And yung plan of distribution shall be adopted upon approval of at least 2/3 of the members having voting rights. Okay? Yan yung mangyayari. So, very ano din talaga. Para kapareho ng dynamics ng isang non-stock corporation. Sa dissolution naman sa corporation, so madi-dissolve ba ito? Sabi nga lang natin perpetual or perpetuity. Unlike the religious society which depends on the provisions under the non-stock corporation for its dissolutions, the revised corporation code allots one section for this act as applied to corporation soul. A corporation soul may be dissolved and its affairs settled voluntarily by submitting to SEC a verified declaration of dissolution setting forth the name of the corporation, the reason for dissolving the corporation soul, the authorization for the dissolution of the corporation by the particular religious denomination. Halimbawa, i-dissolve yung corporation soul, of course, may authority, higher authority, no go to rest for that dissolution. So in rare instance, like, for example, one diocese now will be merging with another diocese. Okay? So, madi-dissolve yung magka-commerce. So, i-dissolve siguro yung isa. Pwede yan, no? Magiging rason. Of course, the authority, higher authority, the Pope will have to, uh, in that decree, no? Pwedeng magamit yung decree, no? Sabi natin sa segment for that purpose under this authorization for the dissolution. Now, the names and addresses of the persons who are to supervise in the winding up of the affairs of that corporation. So, upon approval, such declaration of dissolution by the SEC, the corporation shall cease to carry on its operation except for the purpose of winding up its affairs. This, however, presumes that prior to filing the necessary procedures for the corporation dissolution with the SEC, the trustees and officers have already approved the articles of dissolution in the case of religious society, or in the case of corporation sold, the bishop, yeah, or the superior or the head of the church, no? There had been due consultation with the clergy and lay faithful members. Due consultation lang. Di-dissolve tayo. Kukonsulta sila. According to the internal laws provided for by the canons or the code of canon law or canons or specific church laws or rules, statutes. Take note that while dissolution of religious society may either be voluntary or involuntary, in a corporation soul, it can only be dissolved voluntarily. The law thus recognizes the character of perpetuity in corporation soul, meaning that so long as there is a successor, even in the situation where only one member of that religion has left, uh, he is left and he is qualified to hold the office, the corporation soul will forever exist. And in kaso sa second, okay. All right, now, in one case, in 1940s, a certain prelature was set up, established, no? And the prelate or the bishop registered in the sect as the Roman Catholic Apostolic Administrator of XXS Incorporated. Yan yung legal and civil entity niya. Pagka 1970, yung prelaturang ito ay naging diocese, naging diocese, elevated to diocese. Ang nangyari is, of course, the process of updating, sana naman amendment lang sana ng corporate name. Ewan ko, ang nangyari is, nag-register ng ibang korporasyon na naging Roman Catholic Bishop of XXX Incorporated. Pero yung old corporation, yung old registered corporation soul na Roman Catholic Administrator, Apostolic Administrator of XXX Incorporated was not dissolved. Nagkaroon ng pangalawa. Kaya nga, kasi akala siguro nung nag-register, no, during that time, in 1970s pa, akala na dahil wala na yung Roman Catholic Apostolic Administrator of XXX kasi naging Roman Catholic Bishop na nga, akala niya mamamatay lang yun in a natural death, yung corporation soul, yung dating corporation soul. Hindi po, no? Kasi nga perpetual. Dapat na nangyari, amen yun na lang, ha? Bawa may mga diocese dito na naging archdiocese kayo or prelatura na naging diocese kayo, huwag na kayo mag-register ng bago pang corporation. So, i-amend nyo lang yung corporate name nyo, no? Para hindi na magkaroon na here, dito sa SEC. Two corporations are already registered for that particular canonical office of the bishop. Okay? Kaya nga, of course, walang proper dissolution na nangyari. So same old properties of this local church still bear the name of the old corporation sold. And there was no documentary evidence presented to the presented in the registry of deeds, no, as to the transfer from RCAAX Incorporated to RCBX Incorporated. Kaya nga in one quiz sa meeting sa Episcopal Conference, no, may taga-sec na pumunta doon at sinabihan sila, ito pa yung mga kahit di na namin alam kung nandito pa ba to. They give the bishops the list of the names of still existing corporations. So, at nandoon yung lumang Roman Catholic Apostolic Administrator of XXX Incorporated. Hindi na yun na-update, no? Kasi dito na sa Roman Catholic Bishop of XXX Incorporated. Sabi ko again, Kapag ma-elevate yung ano ninyo, relatura at maging diocese, o yung diocese nyo maging archdiocese, na kayong mag-register ng iba pang corporation soul. I-amenda nyo na lang yung corporate name from Prelate Ordinary of ex BBB Incorporated to Roman Catholic Bishop of BBB Incorporated for corporations. So a corporation soul that is not voluntarily dissolved, voluntarily dissolved, will not be eventually disbanded by operation of law, as it would contravene the perpetual character of that juridical entity. Kasi voluntary, hindi sa involuntary. Hanggang ngayon, may mga nananatili pa doon. Kaya again, hope that this um, sharing or lecture with you makadagdag ng kaalaman sa aspeto ng pagiging korporasyon ng isang simbahan. Mga simbahan na nandito sa Pilipinas na-cover o under na corporation code at tayo ay uh, rehistrado or magpaparegister pa sa Securities and Exchange Commission. The church as a corporation under the revised corporation code, either as a corporation soul or as a religious site. Thank you very much. God bless you all.